Dreamers, and welcome to the Field of Dreams movie site here in beautiful Dyersville, Iowa, and the Bringin Home Show. I'm social media coordinator Tucker LaBelle, joined alongside by Director of Operations Roman Weinberg on this beautiful, beautiful afternoon for the debut of the Bringin Home Show on MC22.
Dreamers, thank you for tuning in. MC22, thank you for hosting us, and we've been doing this show for over a year now, Tucker, previously on Instagram Live, a little bit for a few months on YouTube as well. Now finding our new home and adaptation here, MC22. You will be finding the Bringin' It Home Show once a month on MC22, each month throughout 2021. So we're so excited to bring this content to MC22, and you can expect interviews from local residents and active community members with inspiring stories that connect so well with the Field of Dreams and all of the life lessons that can be extracted from the film. We'll talk Major League Baseball and, of course, Field of Dreams news.
Now, Roman, tell them a quick bit here before we jump into the first interview with Dennis Reimer. Tell them about Dennis and give them a little bit of backstory.
Sure. So, born and raised in Iowa, originally from Strawberry Point in Iowa, small town of just a couple thousand people, which isn't out of the ordinary for the state of Iowa. He grew up just born and raised with baseball in his veins. So he's played since 6 years old in Little League and played throughout college, went to Loras College, an alum here in Dubuque, Iowa, and has just been an avid, active member in the community, a coach, a former baseball player, an athletic Hall of Fame member for the University of Dubuque. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's well respected among the community and has a unique connection, which we'll get to here, with the Field of Dreams movie site. So stay tuned as we dive right in with our interview with Dennis Reimer. Hey Dreamers, welcome to the Bringin' It Home Show. Roman Weinberg and Tucker LaBelle with the Field of Dreams movie site, as always, here, joined this time by a special guest, Dennis Reimer, a Strawberry Point, Iowa native, playing baseball since 6 years old, and grew up with the sport, have been incorporated with the community, an avid member of the community, well-respected, former coach, former player, Loras College alum. I mean, the list goes on. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Roman. Tucker, great to be here. Appreciate you asking me to be a part of this.
Hey, not a problem. So to start, you're well-respected for your coaching career. You're a part of the University of Dubuque Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame, former coach you've been involved with the University of Dubuque now 31 years, training all the way back to 1989, but you first got your start in high school baseball coaching with Leo High School out of Holy Cross, Iowa. So tell us a little bit about your coaching experience and your coaching career, where it's taken you, and some of your favorite moments.
Well, thanks, Roman, for asking. I got my first high school baseball coaching job in 1982, 3 years after I graduated from high school and went to Holy Cross. I was in the middle school and then got the high school job 3 years later when the physical education teacher / baseball coach / athletic director left. So I did that until the school actually closed in 1989. So for 7 years, I was the head baseball coach there, and just a tremendous bunch of young men that just loved playing baseball. Those small communities up there, you get Luxembourg and Rickardsville and Holy Cross, Sherrill, Balltown, all those schools, small towns made up the high school, and those kids all play ball. So I had some great kids to work with, some very supportive parents, and we were just extremely successful. They always had a philosophy you couldn't play summer ball because when the school closed, activities closed. So they play summer baseball in Iowa, but at that time they also played fall and spring. Well, I shouldn't say they played fall and spring. We had a team, but we go play teams in Wisconsin and Illinois in that because they played spring ball.
Sure.
So that's how we got our season in. In the fall, they did have fall baseball in Iowa, and it's exciting because the very last year that the Iowa High School Athletic Association sponsored fall baseball was the fall of 1985, and we were fortunate enough to win the state championship that year. So that was really exciting for the community. To be a part of that as a coach was really exciting. So that's where I got my start. And then, like I said, the school closed in 1989, and I thought, my gosh, I'm out of a job. What am I going to do? Well, I was fortunate that I was working on my master's. I had to take classes, and I was doing that at Loras. I had to take an undergrad class when I was at Morris at the University of Dubuque, and I had a teacher whose name was John Davison, who was the head basketball coach as well as the athletic director there. And when I was student teaching at Kennedy, his son was in 6th grade. I was helping coach their flag football team. John came to watch the games, and I don't know if he was impressed with the way I worked with the kids in that, but he came out to Holy Cross in 1989 and said, I want you to be my baseball coach. So I became the baseball coach there. I was the baseball coach at the University of Dubuque for 14 years, from 1989 to 2003. We built the program into a very solid one, and you know what, I was just blessed. Then, of course, I got married in 1989. In 2002, we had a child, and because of the time commitment with raising a family and that, I took a step back from baseball then and decided to finish my baseball coaching career, which I did at that time, and that's kind of the history of my coaching. So, very successful, not me, just I had such great kids to work with, so young kids have a way of making you look good.
Yeah, I bet. Are there any special moments or seasons at the University of Dubuque that stick out in your mind?
Well, you know what? Here's the funny part. My last year at Leo, we finished 30-4. 30 wins, 4 losses. We just had a great year. Got knocked out in the second round of the tournament, a tough 4-3 ball game. But anyway, so my first year then when I got hired and went to the University of Dubuque, I was feeling pretty good about myself, saying, we'll just go and continue this right at the University of Dubuque. Well, their program had really struggled over the years, and so Coach Davison was hoping I could change that around a little bit.
Sure.
So my first year, I showed up there just gangbusters, ready to make it happen. Well, the coach, the previous coach before me, he got released of his duties. Some of the kids left. I got the job late, like in late May, so it was hard to recruit because most kids already knew where they were going. So my first year there, 1989-90, we had 16 kids was all on our team, on a college team, 16 kids. Now 4 of those 16 had never played high school baseball. Yeah, hadn't even played high school baseball, so really I had 12 guys.
Right.
Well, to do a coaching, if you're going to coach a college level, you have to have plenty of pitching, you have to have plenty of backup guys. We only had 16 guys. So my first year at the University of Dubuque, we were 4-29. We won 4, we lost 29. After being 30-4, we went to 4-29. So I was humbled, to say the least. But we got out there, we worked hard, we started recruiting, building our program, getting the kids we wanted in, and the next year then, we went from 4-29 to 15-16. So I mean, just that quick, we were able to turn the program around, get the kids in there we wanted, they worked hard, so that was exciting. That was one of the most things I felt best about, was we got that program turned around in a year.
Right.
And then throughout those 14 years, we were never fortunate to win a conference championship, even though we had 2. We finished in the upper tier for years. I was blessed in 1994 to be named the Iowa Conference Coach of the Year, which was a nice award again, which I thank my players for. They're the ones that make everything happen.
Right.
But I think the most important thing in my coaching at the University of Dubuque was just how we always had plenty of players, good kids, good students. And the biggest success I felt I had was watching those kids not get first team all conference, not win a conference championship, but to watch them after 4 years walk across that stage and get there. Because Division III baseball is all about participation. If they want to go to the majors, more power to them. But you know what? If you're going to get drafted or want to get drafted, you're probably going to be at a Division I or scholarship school, right? And Division III doesn't offer those. So that meant more to me than anything. And I would sit down with the parents of every kid that I recruited and said, my job is to watch over you for 4 years and watch you graduate. That means more to me than anything you do on the field. And I think that helped us get players, because I think parents thought, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
That my son, that you're just not going to let him focus on baseball. He's here to get an education. And that's what was most important to me. So that was probably, that's kind of maybe a little different than maybe what you want to hear, all your great accomplishments and that. To me, it was watching those kids grow into men, and knowing when they walked out of that school with their diploma after 4 years, they were going to go out and make a difference in the world, which so many of them did.
And that's exactly it. I mean, that's the power of sports. The lessons that they learn on the field can be taken and applied to regular everyday life as well. And you have, as a coach, you're with them a lot more than their parents, than their roommates. I mean, you get to see them in an intimate setting, and you're pushing them to their limits, both on the field and in the classroom, and helping them take that next step in life. So it's got to be rewarding for them.
Exactly. You hit that right on the head, Roman. It's exactly what it's about. I mean, you want to prepare them, because the nice thing about sports is it has its highs and lows. I mean, you should see. I mean, I was tested. You're tested when you're 4-29.
Yeah.
Because, you've lost 15 in a row, 16 in a row, and, you've got to try to keep those kids positive. You got to keep them working hard. They knew that we were thin on numbers and that, but we were going to have to find a way to just keep working hard. And I tell you, you're going to go through those tough times in life, I tell you. You're going to go through tough times like this. Tough times in sports helps you through tough times in life. Highs in sports will help you through the highs in life. But sports does so much to build kids' character, to get them prepared for what they're going to face in real life when they become a dad, when they become a husband, when they get a job, when they lose their job, when they go through a financial crisis, whatever the case might be. They're going to go through tough times, and they'll look back on the tough times they went through in sports, and they're going to realize this helped me a lot be the person I am today.
Yeah. How do you respond?
How are you going to respond?
Faced at adversity, how are you going to respond?
How are you going to respond? That's exactly what we try to work with.
That's great. So after your career as a coach, you take the next step in your life and in your career and continue to be involved in the community in the form of Clarity Clinic. So you're making a huge impact on young adults' lives and helping families. Tell us a little bit about Clarity Clinic, the history of the organization and your role.
Okay, in 2007, I was offered the job as the development director at the Clarity Clinic, which is the pregnancy center in Dubuque. And the reason for that was I was the principal out at Holy Cross. Leo High School had closed in '89, but they kept the grade school, pre-K through 8.
Okay.
So in 2003, when I stepped away from coaching at the University of Dubuque, I became the principal out there for the pre-K through 8 school. So it's nice to be back out there again.
Yeah.
And then in 2005, unfortunately, my wife got breast cancer. We had 2 small kids at home. Actually, we had 3 with our little 3-year-old who was born in 2002. She was going through a tough time with chemo and radiation and everything, and trying to take care of the kids and so on. And I just was feeling that I needed to get back in Dubuque for a job, so that if I ever needed to pick up the kids from school or do something because she wasn't feeling well, I could do that. So this job opened up at the pregnancy center. My assistant baseball coach at UD was the chairman of the board at the Clarity Clinic. And he talked to me and said, "Would you be interested?" And I'm like, why would I want to get out of education and be a development director at a pregnancy center? He said, well, just think about it. So I met with the board. I liked what they were doing, helping young girls in unplanned pregnancies, helping them be able to get educated on how to be a good mother, how to be a good dad, and so on. And so after a week of prayer, because I felt there's something really to pray about, I just felt the Lord gave me a real peace, like He wanted me to do this. So I accepted the position in 2007. Here I am, 13 years later, still there, still trying to help them. I do all the fundraising. We're a nonprofit, so our doors stay open strictly because of donors. Strictly because of donors. If people don't give, our doors would shut. So it's my job to talk to people, to have fundraisers so that the money can come in so we can continue to help them. And that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for 13 years. I love my job. I love going to work every day. And the cool thing was, I was like, when I was praying about this, I'm like, Lord, but I love teaching. You know I love teaching. You know I love education. I thought I'd do it the rest of my life. And it was almost like He was saying, you let me take care of that. So no sooner did I start that job at the Clarity Clinic in July of 2007. I wasn't a month in, and I get a call from a buddy of mine at UD and says, I heard you're back in town. I said, yeah, I am. I'm working at the Clarity Clinic. He said, would you consider teaching part-time at the university? And I'm like, gosh, I'd love to. I don't know the board of directors will let me. So I went to the board, told them the situation. They were just giving me a flat salary, no benefits or anything. And I said, you know what? Maybe if you teach a couple classes up there, because we know you like teaching, you can use the money you make up there, and that can help pay for your health insurance, which we can't provide for you. And I'm like, that'd be great. Well, I've been teaching up at UD since 2007 when I left there in 2003. So, so God said, I know you want to teach. I'll figure it out for you. He sure did. So I'm living the best of both worlds. I'm able to teach. I'm able to help at the clinic like I do. So again, young couples, families can be helped. We know you and your wife work.
Yeah.
So we're blessed, Roman. Life's good. Life's just good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's just exactly the type of person that you are, so it's not a surprise. I'm sure you get called coach around campus.
I do. It's kind of funny that everybody still calls me coach.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was called when I was there. And what's really interesting, and what I tell my students each year now, when I get new students each semester in my classes, I say, hey, my name is Mr. Ryan. If you have trouble remembering that, just call me coach. Because that's what everybody else always called me. So guess what? Most of the kids still call me coach, which is fine.
And now, Dennis, we're sitting here, looking over the beautiful snow-covered field, this field that means so much to people and holds so many memories. But along with that is, your role as a ghost player. And when people come to the field, they almost expect to see a ghost player walk out of the corn. There's something about that is just so natural, and for a lot of them, brings back memories of their childhood. But for you, talk a little bit about how you got involved as a ghost player, and maybe even touch a little bit on maybe some of your favorite moments, your memories. What was so illuminating to your life about being a ghost player, and what led you there in the first place?
Well, that's a great question, Tucker, and thanks for asking it. If I had to tell my memories, this would be a 2-hour show. I've been real blessed in the things I've been able to do, but it was interesting because I wanted to be in the movie. And I would have tried out for the movie, but it was in the summer of '89, and I was coaching summer baseball at Leo High School. It was their last year they were open, so I just couldn't do it because I would have had to been out here.
Right.
Now, after the movie was done, of course, Keith Ray started the Ghost Players.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just started in the summer of '89 then at UD, at the University of Dubuque. So I was going to be the baseball coach there. So in 1991, I got a call from Keith, and he's like, hey, Coach Ryma, we want to do a Little League clinic for all the local kids here in Dyersville and the surrounding area. The Ghost Players want to put it on, but we don't really know how to organize it. So I would like to have Bobby Randall, who's the head baseball coach at Iowa State University, and you come out and organize it, and we'll be here. You just tell us, Ghost Player, you tell us what you want us to do to help the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out, Bobby and I did, we organized it, it went great, it was awesome. They did a great job. And after that afternoon was over, I walked up to Keith, I said, Keith, this was really a good event. You've got a bunch of great guys here, and they're good baseball players too, so they know how to teach the game. I said, I just want you to know, if you do any other events or whatever, and you ever need an extra guy, I'd love to help out if I could. And he's like, that's good to know. About a month later, I got a call. He says, Dennis, we got an event out in Chisholm, Minnesota. Do you go with us? I said, I'd love to go.
How fitting.
How fitting, Chisholm. And the rest is history. I've been with them ever since. So it's been, 29 years I've been with the Ghost Players. When we traveled, Keith would always put me in charge of the Little League Clinic. I would organize it and give everybody the instructions of what they do. When we do the comedy routine, he asked me if I would be the pitcher. So I always get mic'd up, which is just, I love it, it's fun. And then when we do if we do a charity game with it, he always has me be kind of like the play-by-play announcer, so I can have some fun with the fans and the team players and so on. So it's I tell you what, you talk about a blessed man. I consider myself the most blessed man in the world because I went to Japan with the Ghost Players. I went to Europe twice. I've been all across the United States, and I've been able to see almost half the world, and it hasn't cost me a penny. Because that's just how blessed I've been. And when you look at stories, I mean, I can tell stories after stories, but I want to tell you 2 quick ones, you guys. This is what being a Ghost Player means to me. 2 stories. So when I first started being a Ghost Player, I was the first baseman. And we were out here for a Ghost Sunday, and it was full packed, as it always was. And before it started, I'm standing out there at first base, and all of a sudden, this little elderly gentleman, he had to be upper 80s. He was fragile.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody who looked like a son, maybe your daughter, walked him out to me before it started, right? And he walked up to me, and he had this glove and it looked like it was like a 1918, 1919 glove. And he said, son, I would love it if you would use my glove today for Out Goes Sunday. And I'm like, really? Want me to use this old glove? He said, yeah. He said, I think it would be great if you would. I said, I'd be more than happy to. So for that whole Goes Sunday, he used his glove. And when it was over, of course, we finished in that. I walked over, he was sitting on the bleachers, and I walked over to him and I said, sir, thank you so much for letting me use your glove. That was really good. And he looked up at me and he said, son, I want you to keep that.
Wow.
I don't think I'm going to be around much longer. And I want you to keep it, and whenever you want to use it out here, I know there will always be a piece of me at this field.
Amen to that.
That's what's being a ghost player has been meant to me.
You still have it.
Still have to come. Second quick story. This one's a tough one. So we did a ghost Sunday. Pat, after it was over, 3 people walked up to us. Two sisters and a brother. They walked up to us. There was like 3 of us ghost players standing, just kind of busy with each other. They walked up and they said, we just want to thank you guys for this great thing that you do out here and what you did for us today. We said, well, thank you, we appreciate it. It's what we wanted. We try to make people smile and be happy and forget about their worries for a day or whatever and just enjoy what we do. And they're like, no, you have no idea what you've done for us. And we kind of looked at them like, what did we do? And they said, and one of the gals said, last year, or about 6 months ago, we lost our mother. She passed away. Our father, her husband, has been in a deep depression ever since. He won't smile. He barely talks. He doesn't want to leave the house. And we persuaded him, and it wasn't easy, but we persuaded him to come with us to the Field of Dreams. We showed him the movie, so we just thought it might be good for him just to come and see it. So he agreed to come. And she said, and she just was just that close to just tears, all 3 of them were. She said halfway through that show, we looked over at him, and he was laughing so hard, he just had tears streaming down his cheeks. So for the first time in 6 months, we saw our dad smile, laugh, forget about mom. And you guys made that happen at this magical field. That is why I'm a ghost player.
That's amazing.
It has to be, those are just 2 stories.
I'm sure you have many more.
And many, we can tell stories of what happened when we were in Japan and in Europe and just the people at Tuskegee. Because so much of what we did when we went to Europe was mainly the U.S. military bases.
Right.
And those people, they'll bring like rock groups over or things like that. But you talk about family entertainment. You're talking about the servicemen, their wives, their children. Everybody gets involved in our event. Our routine. And it's just a family thing. They were just awesome. In fact, when we went to Europe the first time, when we went to Japan the first time in '94, we did actually the Japanese community. We did the people. We were out in the people. We even stayed with Japanese people, which was quite an experience. That was quite an experience for me. But anyway, when our last stop was the naval base at Sasebo, and the commander there got on that microphone after our game and said, this has been one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen for our military. For you guys to come and perform and do what you do, make us laugh, enjoy baseball, the constant that, is always talked about. Baseball is just a constant in our society. James Earl Jones said it. So what he did, when we left and came back, he contacted the military generals or leaders in Europe and said, you gotta have these guys. So guess where we went the next 2 years? All over Europe. Italy, Switzerland, Germany, France. It was amazing. England.
Wow.
Because, yeah, I gotta be a part of that. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I mean, memories we'll never forget, and probably the greatest thing of all, really, for me personally, besides entertaining and trying to just make people forget about their problems for maybe an hour, is just the relationships I've developed with the Ghost players themselves. Just so many of these guys have become such good, close friends. I mean, dear friends. Keith is one of my best friends. But you know, everybody else, just an amazing bunch of men. And to be able to travel with them and have to live with them for a week or 2 weeks. It was funny because the Europe trip in 1999, I got married on May 29th, and we left for Europe the following Friday.
Oh man.
So I got married on Saturday and left the following Friday for 14 days. So thank God I had a wife who was understanding.
All right, Dennis. Now we have to ask every single person we ever have on the show, what's the most important lesson even to you to take away from the Field of Dreams? There's so many lessons and so many people have a different opinion, but for you, what is the most important thing to take away from this film?
Well, you know what? I've seen it, I don't know how many times now, I've lost count, but and every time I watch it, I cry. I don't see how you can, especially if you are somewhat of a family man, which I grew up. My dad was my little league baseball coach and so on. So, but you know what? The biggest thing I take away is number one is follow your dreams. You think Kevin Costner, to hear somebody tell him if you build it, you build a baseball that doesn't work. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, right.
But he just felt he had to do what he was told to do. So he followed his dream. I don't think he ever knew when he had that dream that it was to have that reconnection with his dad. So for that, and when you watched the movie for the first time, nobody was ever thinking that either. I don't think anybody was thinking that was going to happen. And that's what was so amazing, and that's why to me it was so emotional, because it all made sense when it was all over at the end of it. But you know, the other thing is, your kids grow up fast. Don't waste the time you have with them. There's nothing more special. I mean, you can go on vacation, you can buy them an Xbox and let them play, you can whatever. But to go out in the backyard with America's game, baseball, and play catch with your child, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, or if it's mom playing catch or dad, those things kids will remember forever. And that's what this movie is showing. So even though Kevin Costner never had that opportunity with his dad, to be able to have it at the end of the movie, to be able to go through everything he went through, to where they wanted to take his farm and everything else, and he just would not give in until he saw this call come to pass. And to see it turn out the way it did, I mean, that doesn't inspire every parent out there to say, I want to make sure I don't ignore my children. I want to make sure that I get out there and do things with them. I don't know what the movie does, and that's probably why it's had the impact that it's had. And the other amazing thing about that movie, you tell me any other movie in the history of the world, and I'm sure there's some, but I don't think there's any movie that anybody can think of that's had the after impact that this movie has had. Because when you look at the people that still flock out here, whether it's to just see the field or to see the Ghost players or whatever, you tell me any other movie that's had that impact, because that movie now is what, 30 plus years old?
Yeah.
And there's still people flocking out to see it. Tell me any other movie that's had the impact where people go do something as a result of that movie than this one's done. So to be a part of that, amazing.
Coach, thanks so much again for joining us on the
Thanks for having me. I love, you know me, I love telling stories, I love talking about the field, I love seeing you guys, and I'm just hoping that come next summer that things are better with COVID and all, we're back out here, Ghost players are back out here, and it's just, this is doing what it's supposed to do, because it's impactful, and thank you guys for keeping it going the way you have.
Hey, not a problem. It was great having you on. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays to you.
Same to both of you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
As you heard it here from the Bringin Home Show, may the blessing of sitting down with Dennis Rima and learning not only his life lessons, but the life that he has lived and the blessings he has received through this field right here in Dyersville, Iowa.
What an amazing guy. Some of the stories that he shared with us. It's just, and you and I experience it on a daily basis ourselves. So it's great to see it just cross generations and be handed down, that magic still exists and continues to live on here at the Field of Dreams movie site. It's something special.
That's exactly right. Now, dreamers, stay tuned and stay well as we move forward with many more interviews to come and many more stories to tell. Until then, make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms. We'll have it here on the screen for you. And stay in touch with us, guys. We look forward to seeing you here at the Field of Dreams movie site.